Rain fell softly over the city, turning the neon lights into blurred streaks of red and gold across the wet pavement. Inside the most luxurious restaurant downtown, everything felt calm and elegant. Soft piano music drifted through the air while wealthy businessmen and couples whispered over expensive wine. But tonight, something far more dramatic than a normal dinner was about to unfold. At exactly 8 o'clock, the front doors opened, and the atmosphere subtly changed. Victor Romano stepped inside. Everyone in the city knew that name. Some spoke it with admiration. Others whispered it with fear. Victor Romano was the most powerful mafia boss in the region. Tall, sharply dressed, and impossibly calm, he carried the quiet authority of a man who never needed to raise his voice to command respect. A dark tailored suit hugged his broad shoulders, and the faint scar across his jaw reminded anyone who noticed that his past had not been built in comfort. Beside him walked his fiancée, Isabella Moretti. She was stunning, elegant, confident, the daughter of a wealthy politician. Her long black dress shimmered under the restaurant lights, and every step she took seemed practiced and graceful. To everyone watching, they looked like the perfect power couple. But Victor didn't notice the stares. His attention was on Isabella, who was excitedly talking about wedding plans. "This restaurant will be perfect for the engagement party," she said with a smile. "Everyone important will be here." Victor nodded politely, though his mind seemed distant. He had built an empire of influence and power. He had money, respect, and fear working in his favor. Yet sometimes, late at night, there was something missing. A memory. A face. A woman he had once loved. But that life was long gone, or so he believed. The hostess quickly led them to the best table in the restaurant, right beside the large window overlooking the glittering skyline. "Your table, Mr. Romano," she said nervously. Victor thanked her with a polite nod. As they sat down, Isabella picked up the wine list and began discussing expensive choices, completely unaware that fate was already moving silently toward them. Across the restaurant, in the staff hallway, a young waitress adjusted her uniform nervously. Her name was Elena. Her dark hair was tied neatly behind her head, but loose strands had escaped, framing her tired face. Beneath the restaurant lights, it was clear she was exhausted. Working double shifts would do that to anyone. But the real reason for her fatigue was impossible to hide. Elena was pregnant. The gentle curve of her belly pressed against the fabric of her uniform, a detail that drew sympathetic looks from some coworkers and quiet gossip from others. Few people knew her story. And those who did, rarely spoke about it. The restaurant manager rushed down the hallway holding a tablet. "Elena," he said quickly. "VIP table just arrived. Table 7. She nodded automatically. Of course. She grabbed a small notepad and walked toward the dining room. As she stepped onto the restaurant floor, she took a deep breath. Just another table, she told herself. Just another shift. But the moment her eyes lifted toward table 7, her entire world froze. Because sitting there, just a few meters away, was the one man she never expected to see again. Victor Romano. The father of her child. Her ex-husband. The tray in her hands trembled slightly. For a moment she wondered if she was imagining things. But no. There was no mistake. He looked exactly the same. The same calm expression. The same piercing eyes. The same presence that once made her feel safe, and later completely broken. And sitting beside him, his fiancée. Elena's chest tightened as emotions crashed through her mind. Shock. Pain. Memories she had buried for years suddenly flooding back. She hadn't seen Victor since the night everything fell apart. The night she disappeared from his life. The night he believed she had betrayed him. But Victor had no idea she was standing here now. No idea she was carrying his child. The manager whispered urgently beside her. Elena, go take their order. She hesitated. Her heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear the music in the restaurant. But she had no choice. Slowly, she walked toward the table. Step by step. Each step heavier than the last. Victor was listening to Isabella speak, half distracted, when a familiar voice broke through the conversation. Good evening. My name is Elena, and I'll be your waitress tonight. Victor looked up. Time stopped. His expression changed instantly. The calm confidence vanished from his face, replaced by pure disbelief. Elena, he whispered. Isabella frowned slightly, confused. You know her? She asked. But Victor didn't respond. He couldn't. Because standing in front of him, alive and real, was the woman he had mourned for years. The woman he thought had abandoned him. The woman he had once loved more than anything. His ex-wife. Elena tried to remain professional. But her hands trembled as she held the notepad. Are you ready to order? She asked softly. Victor stared at her in shock. You disappeared, he said quietly. I thought you were gone forever. Isabella's eyes moved between them. What is going on here? She demanded. Elena swallowed. She didn't want to do this here. Not like this. Not in front of strangers. But fate had clearly decided tonight was the night everything would surface. Victor's eyes slowly lowered. And then he saw it. The pregnancy. His heart skipped. Elena, he said slowly. Are you? She looked away. But the truth was impossible to hide.